I bet YouTube today we're gonna be watching Child Support. He does a lot of like these hood videos, but Toronto edition. I'm actually from Toronto, if you guys didn't know. So this didn't hit close to home because I'm not in the streets at all. You feel me? But like I be in the city, so it kind of feels different when you're actually in the city. You kind of know more about what's going on, all of that. The last video he uploaded was Tales of Toronto, Tragic Story of Germs. I mean, if we gonna watch this, see what happens, man. I kind of know, like, I'm kind of familiar with this a little bit already, but not too much. You feel me? I try to stay away from this stuff, so we finna watch this, though. 19-year-old males are likely. Yeah, that's probably about right still. Because 19 is when niggas really get active out here, for real. I ain't gonna lie.
Named after his grandfather, who died 3 months before he was born, Jeremiah Ranger, aka Germs, was described by those close to him as a smiley kid, fourth in a family of 5. He had a big heart and a big smile, but he was suffering silently. Germs was a difficult case, to say the least. Born during what Toronto police described as the year of the gun, Germs was coincidentally no stranger to gun violence. His father and cousin were injured in separate shootings, and when he was 10, he witnessed 2 men get shot in front of him.
Damn.
His troubles with gun violence, which came at a disturbingly early age, arise from neighborhood conflicts. Germs lived with his mom and 4 siblings in public housing at 1884 Shepherd Avenue West, also dubbed Baghdad. The gangs in this area have been around for decades, and unfortunately, due to their affiliations with several blood sets along the south side of Jane and Finch, they have accumulated a lengthy list of oppositions, many of them based just a few minutes away on the north side of the neighborhood, which is a predominantly Crip territory. Sometime in 2007, during the peak of the North and South Side Jane and Finch feud, Joe Friesen, a reporter for the Globe and Mail, took the opportunity to interview residents on the South Side, with one youth worker providing a detailed insight on the violence in the area. Bloods to the South have a more stable organization, in which senior leaders look out for the young people in their communities, encouraging them to stay in school and steer clear of guns. Some even deal drugs to put themselves through university, the youth worker said. The South guys don't want to beef with the North guys. The North guys are the killers. The South Side guys are the moneymakers. They're not into the guns because they don't want the heat the guns bring, and they have older guys to tell them how to act. They don't have that mentorship in the North. Because of the traumatizing things he'd seen, Germs grew anxious and was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. These troubles would eventually seep into his schooling as he would accumulate a lengthy file, with incidences ranging from screaming profanities to violent outbursts. The earliest incident dates back to 2013, when Germs was just 8 years old. He broke free from the teachers in the principal's office and then went to where another student was standing in line to return to class and smacked him in the back of the head with his palm. He then left school property where he was reapprehended and returned to the principal's office a second time. He then began to throw papers, attempted to break a teacher's phone, and needed to be restrained. Germs simply did not have the skills to manage his anger. It was so bad Toronto police were called, which resulted in him being placed into the system. On the file, they labeled 8-year-old Germs as a quote-unquote problem. 2 years after that, police were called to Calico Public School for a person gone berserk. An overall summary of the incident, as documented in the report, says that a person was kicking classroom doors and making threats to other students. He also threatened a teacher. On an official police report, one teacher was quoted saying she was terrified of the person and fears for her and her students' safety when he is around. This person was 10-year-old Germs. Police officers attempted to speak to him in the presence of the principal, but Germs refused to acknowledge the police presence and refused to answer any questions. He then suddenly got up and ran out of the school. Officers then confirmed that Germs made it home safely and reported this to the principal. As a result, he was immediately suspended for 20 days. For students like Germs, the common solution the school board would impose is a school transfer, but this didn't work for him. Simply put, due to the North and South Side Jane and Finch feud, youth in some neighborhoods do not like to associate with youth in other neighborhoods. So when Germs was transferred to various schools around the Jane and Finch community, he was often put in a situation where he was surrounded by youth that did not like where he was from. He would then have to fight to survive and would subsequently be suspended for it. It was a vicious cycle. Now this is not to say the school board was the main contributing factor to his troubles, but it undoubtedly had an impact on his delinquency. 2 years after his 20-day suspension from Calico Public School, Germs was arrested for ding-dong ditching. By this point, Toronto Police's 31 Division was well aware of Germs, and unfortunately, they had enough. When the police were trying to quote-unquote gain control over him, they backed Germs into a corner. He resisted, and as a result of the struggle, he was charged with assault to a peace officer and mischief.
Nah, that's crazy.
According to his mother,
backing someone in a corner and they defending themselves, like, that's wild.
It was at this point when Germs would begin to ask her, "Why am I not like other kids?" He felt like he was different. He felt like he wasn't accepted. When it came to the police and the schools, he knew he was treated differently than others, and it affected him deeply. One lens into understanding his difficult life is through the eyes of the Toronto Police Service over at 31 Division. Looking through this lens tells quite a tale. His police file has 234 pages with 43 recorded encounters. Mind you, those are just the ones captured in writing in the General Occurrence Records releases. Looking through these pages, you first notice Germs' pattern of crime and mischief. Clearly, no one accumulates 43 written encounters with the police for nothing, and Jeremiah is no different. The pages reveal assaults,
43?
both with and without a weapon,
10,
muggings,
crazy.
harassment of other youth in the Jane and Finch community, countless school-related incidents, uttering threats, and even an armed robbery in a stolen vehicle.
How old is he?
In the
This can't
first
be by
11
10.
reports, there
This
are
can't be by
repeated
10.
references to concerns for his mental and behavioral issues. Some reports indicate that Toronto Children's Aid Society were notified. At one point, the Mobile Crisis Intervention Team was consulted, and they advised the Humber River Regional Hospital of the situation. He had even been briefly apprehended under the Mental Health Act and admitted to the hospital for a short stay. One of the police investigations into Jeremiah's school behavior unfolded over a few months in the fall of 2018. He had been accused of stealing lunch money from a number of students over a period of time throughout 2018.
2018, let me tell y'all boys. Bro, if you don't have your fingers crossed and the man says shooks, you're not eating. You're not eating at lunch. That's his food now. No cap. 2018, 2017, yeah, maybe 2016 too. Like, those are the years, man, are really shooks in your food stuff. You guys know what shooks is, like I said, bro. If you ain't cross your finger and somebody says shooks, that means it's their food now. And hey, man, if they try to take your food, you gotta defend yourself type shit. But this is definitely when niggas are still robbing niggas for lunch money and shit. These are definitely them times.
Jeremiah would ask for their lunch money. If they did not immediately hand over the money, he would threaten them and start counting down from 5 to 1 in order to intimidate them. As a result of the investigation, Jeremiah would...
Imagine a man walks up to you and says, "Yo, nigga, give me your lunch." And you say, nah, chill. And he says, 5, 4, 3. Nah, that's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy.
Was formally charged with and appears to have pled guilty to 2 counts of robbery and 1 count of theft under $5,000. Jeremiah did a lot of things he shouldn't have, but if you stop reading there, you won't really see Jeremiah. He was different. The seemingly small triggers were huge offenses to him. He could not easily let them go, and once the retaliation sequence had begun, he was compelled to see it through. Jeremiah would drop out of high school after this incident, and thus, his life in the streets began. Sunday, April 26, 2020. Now 15, Germs and his friend Degushi Blake arranged a marijuana transaction with 22-year-old Seymour Young using anonymous Instagram accounts. They arranged to meet Mr. Young in a townhouse complex under the pretense that they would purchase an ounce of marijuana from him. However, their intention was to rob him. Seymour Young was born in Brampton and lived there with his parents until he was 8 years old. His childhood was marked by violence. His father was physically abusive to him and his brother. It was so bad, the Children's Aid Society got involved with the family after teachers reported the injuries inflicted on them. His father eventually moved out when he was 8. Fast forward to grade 9, Young dropped out of high school, but was able to secure a job as a roofer. Unfortunately, he lost the job when the COVID-19 pandemic struck in 2020. Young then began selling weed to make ends meet. It is reported that he had been selling weed for only 2 weeks and bought a gun just 1 week before the following incident occurred. At a townhouse in Baghdad, Seymour Young arrived in an SUV driven by his brother Tyler. Seymour was in the front passenger seat while his girlfriend, Hannah Gadet, sat in the rear seat. As their SUV pulled up and stopped, Germs quickly approached the vehicle, followed a few seconds later by his friend Igushi Blake. Seymour had rolled down the front passenger window of the vehicle in anticipation of conducting the marijuana transaction through the window. Instead, Germs entered the right rear passenger side of the vehicle, followed by Igushi. Once inside, Germs produced what turned out to be an imitation firearm and made clear his intention to rob the occupants of the vehicle. In response to Germs brandishing what appeared to be a real firearm, Seymour pulled his own firearm and fired once. Young intentionally aimed low, and as Germs turned to flee the vehicle, he was hit in the thigh, severing an artery. As he fled the vehicle from the rear passenger door, Germs stumbled and dropped the imitation firearm. He then got back to his feet and ran a few more meters before collapsing behind the complex's garbage bin. Then, moments after the SUV drives off, it is reported Igushi, after initially running away from the scene, returned and retrieved the imitation firearm, hid it about 500 meters away, then fled the scene.
Real nigga.
After collapsing, Germs was rushed to the hospital, where he succumbed to his injury.
Turning next to the shooting death of a 15-year-old boy. Tonight, 3 people are facing charges in the death of Jeremiah Ranger.
One of the suspects, a young woman, turning herself in this morning.
Toronto police were able to quickly identify Seymour, his brother and girlfriend, as the occupants of the SUV at the time of the shooting, and on May 2nd, they announced Tyler Young was arrested and charged. Hannah Gadet and Seymour Young were arrested and charged 2 days later when they surrendered to police. Fast forward 2 years, trial would begin. Seymour Young's original charge of second-degree murder would be reduced to manslaughter, while his brother and girlfriend would be cleared of all charges. Although he expressed remorse for his actions, Young was sentenced to 5 years in prison and given a lifetime firearms ban.
There's definitely some American niggas watching it right now and say, he just killed a nigga and got 5 years. Yeah, like I said, that's Canada for you, bro.
With credit for pre-sentence custody, he will be released in May of 2024. After the passing of Germs, a memorial was set up just meters away from where he passed, but due to his affiliations, it has been the target of constant vandalism and even shootings.
This was one of 5 shootings between Saturday evening and Sunday morning in the city. A 27 and 28-year-old man have been arrested after a shooting in North York last night. 2 others were injured in the shooting that happened outside a townhouse complex near Shepherd and Yates Castle around 8:30 p.m. Then at 9:18 p.m., police received a call to Steeles Avenue West and Tangreen Court west of Young for reports of a man shot in the leg. There are also reports of a shooting at Flemington Road and Amaranth Court near Allen and Lawrence. Police say 7 shots were fired at a brown Mercedes-Benz. Police say they're looking for a shiny black SUV with tinted windows. And there were reports of shots fired on Wilson Heights Boulevard.
It is so close to home, and that, you know, and where is it going to hit next?
I remember this. This is crazy. Toronto niggas are mad disrespectful. I ain't gonna lie. This is crazy. So. I remember that. That's crazy, bro. But that's Toronto for you. I definitely want to start reacting to more like Toronto documentary stories or whatever you guys want to call it. Hey, I appreciate the follow. For real. But I just want to... I'm going to start doing more Toronto ones because, like I said, like, I wasn't too familiar with this one. Like, I'm familiar with some of them, but I wasn't too familiar with this one. That's crazy, bro. Like, honestly, they should just let the nigga have the ounce, bro. Somebody sticks me up for an ounce, nigga. An ounce is like $80. If it's some gas, if it's that Zod, that quad, it might be like a bill 20. Like, that ain't worth shooting the nigga over, bro. Just have the ounce, bro. Like, that's how I look at it. I didn't even know that, man. You know, rest in peace type shit, you feel me? Well, this is crazy, though. Like I said, though, I'm going to react to more, like, Toronto ones. Because I feel like, damn, like, these are interesting still. Especially I didn't know this one for real. But if you guys did enjoy today's video, if you guys did, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're on the road to 20K, bro. Hopefully they make a doobie one. I want to react to a doobie one. That would be crazy. But, yeah, I'm going to catch y'all next video, bro.